Sometimes the biggest tests of who we are don't happen on some grand stage. Nope, they happen in a quiet classroom over something as small as a broken pencil. Today, we're going to dive into a simple story from the book Happy Path that, believe me, packs a powerful lesson about a really tough choice.
So let me ask you, what does real courage look like? We tend to think of it as these huge, heroic acts. But what about those little internal battles we fight every single day? This story about a young boy named George really makes you think about what true courage is in those small but totally defining moments.
All right, so picture this. Throwing broken pencils has apparently become a thing in George's class. And the teacher, well, she's had enough. She lays down a new rule. It's super clear, super strict. And the consequence? It's no joke. Writing 150 lines is a serious punishment when you're a kid. And here we go. The classic conflict, right? A rule is set, and bam, temptation just shows up out of nowhere. It's not like he's being mean, it's just this little mischievous impulse. George sees the back of his buddy Jack's head and just thinks, oh man, that would be so fun.
It's the perfect storm. Opportunity meets temptation. The teacher steps out for a second, and in that one little moment, George gives in. He calls out Jack's name and just launches that piece of pencil across the room. It's a split-second decision, one that's about to have some pretty immediate consequences.
And it all happens in a flash. His aim? Terrible. The pencil clatters against the wall and lands next to a totally different kid's desk. And at that exact moment, the door opens. The teacher is back. You could just feel the air go right out of the room.
Just 3 little words from the teacher, but wow, they hang heavy in that now silent classroom. She spots the pencil right away. Now, every kid in that room knows the rule, and they all know the punishment. This isn't just about a pencil anymore. It's about what's going to happen next.
You can just imagine the war going on inside George's head. On one side, you've got the easy way out, screaming, "She didn't see you, no one's gonna snitch." But then, on the other side, there's this deeper, much harder question that's starting to bubble up.
And this is the turning point. The teacher is brilliant here. She completely reframes the whole thing. It's not just about breaking a rule anymore. She makes it about character, about integrity. That challenge, to be man enough to confess, it just cuts right through all of George's excuses. And that was it. That one question from the teacher just slammed the brakes on his internal debate. The easy way out, not an option anymore. In this incredible moment of pure internal courage, he makes his choice. He stands up.
There is so much power in those 4 simple words. No excuses, no blaming anyone else. Just a straight-up, honest confession and an apology. He completely owned what he did, knowing exactly what was coming his way.
150. That's the number. He knew the price before he even got to his feet, and he still chose to pay it. This number isn't just about the punishment. It's a symbol of the consequence he was willing to accept to keep his integrity intact.
Now, the teacher's reaction here is so important. She doesn't yell at him. She doesn't give him a lecture. Instead, she thanks him. She shows him that his honesty, right then and there, was more valuable than his mistake. That response totally validates his difficult choice. It shows that character matters more than a broken rule. And George doesn't put it off. He faces his consequence head-on, finishing all those lines that very same day. But even more important, he tells his mom that he actually learned his lesson. The whole thing wasn't just about being punished, it was about real learning and real change.
And his mother, she just nails it. She gives his action the right name, courage. She gets that standing up in front of everyone to confess was way harder than just sitting there and getting away with it. She's proud of his bravery, not his perfection. So, what's the result of all this? On the outside, he's probably trying to play it cool. But on the inside, he feels happy. And that's the quiet reward of integrity, isn't it? That feeling of peace and self-respect you get from doing the right thing, especially when it's the hard thing.
So, what's the big takeaway from this story? It really defines this idea of being true. It's not just about not telling a lie. It's an active promise you make to yourself to be honest, to live with integrity, and to own your actions, the good and the bad. The story kind of leaves us with a roadmap for this. It's saying that honesty isn't just a one-time choice, but a habit you've got to build. It starts with setting a high standard for yourself, really staying focused on it, and practicing being truthful in the small things so it just becomes second nature when the big moments hit.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one this story asks all of us. George's big test was a broken pencil. Ours might be something completely different. So think about it. When is it hardest for you to tell the truth? because it's in those tough moments, just like George's, that our real character is built.